What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Louie Lineups. And most of you probably have drafts in the next 9 days before the season starts. So this is a big draft week. If you drafted before preseason, I feel sorry for you because you should never draft before preseason ends. All that happens are things like J.K. Dobbins getting hurt and, just every bad thing can happen. Irv Smith Jr., tight end, is missing a few weeks to the season. So bad things can happen when you draft early before preseason ends. You gotta let them get all their preseason injuries out of the way and everything else. I don't like drafting before the preseason ends. So this week should be draft week. A lot of drafts this week. Here's how we're going to get you lined up. We did quarterbacks and tight end last week. We're going to do running backs and wide receivers this week. So some small things have changed with J.K. Dobbins being out of the lineup now. So let's jump into our running backs here. Right off the top, tier 1, you're going to have Cook, McCaffrey, Kamara, Henry. And I threw Barkley and Elliott in there because I just feel like they're just too good to fall one tier below. They both could have very similar seasons, but don't get me wrong, they're definitely at the bottom of tier 1 here at 5 and 6. If you like McCaffrey first, that's totally fine. If you even like Kamara first, I don't blame you there. I definitely see those three guys going 1, 2, 3 off the board in any order. Henry 4th, and then, your running backs 5, 6. I think one of those is going to be Elliott and Barkley. And then you go to 1A with Eckler, Chubb. Those guys could maybe go before Barkley and Elliott, but I wouldn't do that. I think Barkley's ceiling's too high. Same thing with Elliott. Elliott can get a lot of touches this year with Dak coming back off the injury. They might just want to run Elliott and till Dak, shows that he can play and ball out. So Elliott is definitely going to get a lot of looks early on for the Cowboys. So Elliott's going to make the tier 1 there. Let's go into 1A now with Eckler, Chubb, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Antonio Gibson, Aaron Jones, and I got Najee Harris in my 1A. This rookie is going to do special things in Pittsburgh. I'm not saying a Le'Veon Bell fantasy when he was there, but he's going to come close. He's going to be fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy can finish top 10, even maybe right around top 5 in running backs. Najee Harris is going to be great. He's probably my favorite player in my tier 1A here. I'd probably take Eckler before him, but after Eckler, I would take serious consideration into drafting Harris after Eckler or Chubb, because Chubb and the Browns, they're going to want to just run the football and keep running it. So I like Eckler, then Chubb. Maybe I like Harris to climb up the board there, but he's going a little later in draft. That's why I put him at 12. But after you go Eckler, Chubb, you're really good with any of those guys after those. Helaire is fighting an injury here, just a small ankle. I believe it's just an ankle issue that he's just fighting through. They're just monitoring it. He didn't really play in preseason after that first game, so keep an eye out for him. He's someone that you might want to drop and take Gibson before or Aaron Jones before. A lot of people are high on Gibson. I guess, yes, he's going to get a lot more volume. So Gibson's not a terrible play. Aaron Jones is a kind of a touchdown guy. If he gets, a guy that can have 2-3 touchdowns in a game, but not someone that goes over 100 yards too much. So let's look at tier 2 here. Headlining tier 2 here, I got DeAndre Swift. The thing about DeAndre Swift right now is Coach Dan Campbell saying that he might not be ready for week 1. Just a matter of conditioning and getting the groin back in shape. He has been practicing, but he said he'd like to ease him back in. So I'm not in love with my tier 2 running backs here. Just because of that, Joe Mixon always seems like he could break out and have a great year with his talent, but he just, behind that offensive line, he struggles. he struggles to really get into a top 10 fantasy value for me. But, he does stick around. He's a top 20 guy. So, he doesn't wow me. Jonathan Taylor's probably one of my favorite running backs in this tier 2 here, just because they say now Quentin Nelson could start the season along with Carson Wentz, so that would really help that offense. You just hope he gets a lot of the volume. I mean, the Colts have so many running backs in Jordan Wilkins, Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines. Like, they got 3 other guys that can give Jonathan Taylor a breather. You just hope that his volume really can keep it up. Miles Sanders for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. They might stack the box and force Hurts to throw. Not too high on Miles Sanders this year. And you got Darrell Henderson there, who's also fighting something small here. He's got a finger sprain, and he should be ready for week 1. And obviously, Sonny Michel coming into that system with the Rams and McVay and so he was going to take some things away from Henderson. I do expect Henderson to still be the kind of bell cow there. For the Rams, I think, Michel's nothing really more than a depth piece, but hopefully you don't see his production go down too much. I mean, I could be wrong about this. Henderson could slip to, a tier below, but I do think that he's still going to benefit more than Michel is in that offense. Just got to get that finger healthy, but he should be out there for week 1. Now we go to 2A. We'll start it off with Gaskin in a Miami offense that could take off this year, and Tua having a full season there. Gaskin going to be the guy in the backfield. Montgomery, I like more this year because now the Bears got Tariq Cohen, who is, because kind of take away his pass catches and take away some third down snaps and things like that. But Tariq Cohen right now is going to be out for a few weeks to start the year. So it's going to be all Montgomery in Chicago. So not a bad person to take. You could even move him up to tier 2 because, like I said, Tariq Cohen's weeks away from even practicing. So, you're looking at a week 8 return for maybe Tariq Cohen, and you're going to have Montgomery ready to go. Montgomery's going to get a lot of carries, see a lot of volume. Same with Chris Carson in that Seattle offense. Always a good, solid running back to get later in the draft. Always love Chris Carson. Josh Jacobs, his value's down this year. The addition of Kenyon Drake there for the Raiders. We'll see what they do with Jacobs, a guy that can, he's kind of an end zone guy too. He's got to get in the end zone, or his fantasy day is looking at 5-6 points. But if he gets in the end zone, he can crack those double digits, which you need from your starting running backs. So Jacobs not an awful running back 2 to have. Chase Edmonds here for the Cardinals, going to get more volume with Drake gone. In a high-powered offense, not an awful pick. Chase Edmonds would be here. Kenyon Drake with the Raiders now sees a lot more volume, playing with Kyler Murray and D-Hop and everyone else. So high-powered offense that's going to put up points. You're going to see Edmonds maybe get some touchdowns here, some pass catching out of the backfield, so on and so forth. Edmonds a solid running back too. And I'm going to move Gus Edwards here with J.K. Dobbins out. Dobbins would have been in my tier 2. With him out, I'm going to put Gus Edwards in my 2A tier here, just because the Ravens are going to run the ball and they're going to run it a lot. And the guy Justice Hill is battling an ankle injury right now. His status to open up the year is unknown. So I like Gus Edwards early on. Going to see a lot of volume there with Lamar Jackson and that Ravens run game. Someone else to mention that would have been in my tier 2A is Travis Etienne, the rookie from Clemson that was paired with Trevor Lawrence, is out for the season. They put him on season-ending IR. So taking his spot, I have James Robinson, who was obviously great last season for the Jaguars after they lost their starting running back. So Robinson makes it into the top 25 for me. I realized I got a couple 24s there. It's because I had to move some things around and I wasn't going to change every number. But the tiers are the more important part. On to tier 3. I got Kareem Hunt, the guy that's going to back up Chubb. If anything were happening to Chubb, Kareem Hunt would instantly become a top 10 running back. Raheem Mostert, starting running back for San Fran. They got some guys there, and Trey Sermon too. So he's going to start the games. He's going to get most of the carries, but he's going to definitely lose some time to the running backs they have there in San Francisco, and the addition of rookie Trey Sermon. Mike Davis is a starting running back for the Falcons. We'll see what the Falcons do. I'm not huge on that Falcon offense this season, but Mike Davis is the starter there. So tier 3 is kind of where you get their starting running backs for those teams. So we'll see what happens. So that's kind of your Mike Davis there, and Jamal Williams coming in at 28. Melvin Gordon, still the Broncos starting running back. You could not Jamal, but that 28 is Javonte Williams, Denver running back. Melvin Gordon, Denver running back. Those two guys I feel like are going to split carries down the middle. Denver traded up to get Javonte Williams, so I see an even share of carries there. So two starting running backs on the same team basically there in tier 3. I have Michael Carter here. I do think he's going to end up getting most of the carries, but Rob Salah likes that running back by committee thing, so Michael Carter is kind of a risky play here. I probably have him a little bit too high. And then you got the Singletary Moss thing going on. Same with Javonte and Melvin Gordon. Two guys splitting carries, and the Bills throw the ball a lot. I'm not too high on either of them this year. And then you got Leonard Fournette, potential starting running back there for Tampa if he stays healthy. Fournette and his injuries has always been a thing. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be an option for an RB2 flex scenario for your teams. So recapping tier 3 here, I kind of avoid Michael Carter just because of the running back by committee thing they got going there. And Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, expecting them to split snaps. Singletary Moss, on a pass-heavy Bills team I'm not a huge fan of, and so on. On to tier 4 here, where this is your kind of, if you only have 3 running backs, you better grab a tier 4 running back here. But hopefully you're able to grab, 4 running backs, or within the first 3, 4 running backs here between tier 1, 1A, 2, 2A, and 3. Hopefully you're able to grab 4 running backs in the top 33. If you're not able to, then, here's your tier 4 where some depth could come in. Started off with Harris, the New England running back, so they got rid of Michelle there. So, Harris' stock does go up a little bit in my book for sure with Michelle gone. They still got James White over there to catch the passes, but, Harris is going to be their guy at the goal line who's pounding the ball in. Could have some good games. You don't know what you're going to get from the Patriots offense, but he is going to start for New England. So he's not an awful pick if you need some running back depth in tier 4 here. Ronald Jones, I do like Ronald Jones. I think he's definitely my favorite tier 4 running back. He definitely my favorite tier 4 running back. Because if Fournette goes down, Ronald Jones is going to get a lot of the volume there in Tampa. Even though Keyshawn Vaughn's there, I still think Ronald Jones runs the ball hard. He's going to get a lot of third down scenarios, a lot of rushes. I think he gets the goal line rushes away from Fournette. So if I had to pick between a Tampa Bay running back who I can get, I'd rather get Ronald Jones a round or 2 later than I could get Fournette. I think the value is just there for him, potential of being a starter and still getting carries, getting consistent carries. Then I got David Johnson. I mean, the backfield is beyond crowded there. They got David Johnson. I saw Phillip Lindsay. It's just a very crowded Texans backfield that I'm just not a fan of. I kind of stay away from Texans backfield. I stay away from the Texans in general this year. I do not believe in the Houston Texans. Who knows if Deshaun Watson's going to start there? I couldn't tell you. So Johnson and Lindsay come in there and in tier 4. You got J.D. McKissick now, pass catching back for Washington. Gets in a PPR, he can get a lot of points. And plus he's a good handcuff to have if something were to happen to Gibson for the football team. And then I'm going to round it out there with Sonny Michel in tier 4 with, potentially taking some carries away from Henderson, or if Henderson's not ready to go, Michel is going to be the guy there. At tier 5, these are just basically your standard handcuffs. Guys that you can keep your eye on, stash on your bench in case anything happens to the starter. And that best guy to have as a handcuff is by far and away Tony Pollard to back up Zeke. I mean, Tony Pollard, some Cowboys fans will tell you he's better than Zeke. It's crazy to me, but look, Tony Pollard is a great running back, especially if Zeke will go down. This guy can turn into a top 5 play. Easy be a top 5 play. I got Tariq Cohen here a little high. That was before I knew he was injured. I expect him to go undrafted, and by no means would I draft Tariq Cohen. James Conner is in Arizona now, so him and Edmonds are going to be the two there. I don't think Conner will take much away from Edmonds, being a guy first year in the new system. He's not a great running back, James Conner. He's just not. I expect Edmonds to really solidify himself in that role. But if you're looking for some late death or a spark there, James Conner's not an awful pick. Not someone I would headline at the top of that tier, though. Like I said, I kind of just threw in running backs 41 through 47 here. So they can kind of go however they want. But Tony Pollard's definitely a guy on top of the list. Same with Latavius Murray. I mean, if Al Kamara goes down, Murray's going to be a top 10 play week in, week out. Still going to get some touches, even with Alvin Kamara in the lineup. But if he goes down, Murray's going to be a great play, good handcuff to have, especially if you have Kamara, good late round pick to get to solidify that lineup. And then you got Jamal Williams. If something happens to Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams will be a fine play. James White, the pass catcher for New England. Trey Sermon, someone that can get a lot of volume if their running back. Raheem Mostert goes down, so Sermon's a good handcuff to have if you got Mostert. A.J. Dillon for the Packers, another solid guy to have. He came on last year a little bit when I believe Jones was hurt, and Jamal might have even been hurt as well. So A.J. Dillon's another solid Green Bay Packer. Him and Williams might split some carries if something were to happen to Jones. But like I said, Jones is going to be the guy there. Maybe you get a touchdown from A.J. Dillon, but I'm not too sold on any of the Green Bay Packers backups. But like I said, they're handcuffs, so on and so forth. Actually, I stand corrected. Jamal Williams is now with the Tigers, Detroit Lions, not with the Packers. So A.J. Dillon is the backup to have in Green Bay, and Jamal Williams is the backup to have for DeAndre Swift. Sorry about that. So Jamal Williams, Lions, backing up Swift. If you have Swift, he's already kind of questionable for week 1. You might want to jump on Jamal Williams just in case. A.J. Dillon is the backup for Aaron Jones, so Dillon is the guy to have in Green Bay as a backup. And then I got Kenyon Drake here, who was obviously miserable with the Cardinals, never should have went high in fantasy drafts last year. Everyone played him up. Don't be fooled. Kenyon Drake's not good. Don't draft Kenyon Drake. I just threw him on here because he's going to be the backup for Josh Jacobs, but could see some volume. Alexander Madison, great pickup if Dalvin Cook were to go out. So another handcuff for Dalvin Cook. If you lose Cook, you don't want to be, Cook's a guy that puts up 25. You're going to be okay with Madison putting up 15 to 20 in Cook's absence. So nothing more than a handcuff is Madison. Justin Jackson, same thing with Eckler there. Just a backup. Darrell Williams is Hilaire's backup handcuff. You got Tevin Coleman with the Jets, and you can put I don't have Ty Johnson on here, but he's made some standout moves with the Jets. So you're going to have Coleman, Carter, and Johnson with the Jets. I could see all three of those guys being very involved in the offense. Rashad Penny for the Seahawks with Chris Carson. Not necessarily someone that you need to back up Carson because they'll kind of go by committee. Seattle, if something were to happen with Carson. And Cordell Patterson with Atlanta is going to round out my running backs. He'll be backing up or getting some playing time alongside Mike Davis. He's a very sneaky. I had to put him on here because he's kind of sneaky in the pass game too. He could be out there with Mike Davis, running routes, so on and so forth. And you know what? I had Malcolm Brown on here. I'm going to take him off my list and give Ty Johnson that spot. You should not be drafting Malcolm Brown. Sonny Michel takes him off the list of being drafted. I would stay very far away from him. So that's going to do it with the running backs. That's what it looks like. That's how you got to go about drafting them. Tier 5's your handcuffs, and if you're left with someone in Tier 4 to start, that's not great. None of those guys should be in your starting lineup. They should be a flex or bye week option at most. And just make sure you try to get 3 running backs by Tier 3. I mean, if you draft early, you got to try to get someone in Tier 1. If you're drafting late, you got to try to get someone in 1A and 2 on the way back. Tier 1, you draft someone with 2A, and you try to grab someone in 3. And you got to try to have 3 running backs by Tier 3, or you're kind of in trouble. So that's your running backs. Now let's move on to the wide receivers. Wide receivers, we got a lot of stuff because there's a few wide receivers that are banged up and so on and so forth. But first, let's start with Tier 1, wide receivers. First, we have Devontae Adams, Hopkins, Hill, Diggs, and Ridley makes Tier 1. That's kind of the order I would go in. And I really have nothing to say about it. Everyone's healthy there. Everyone's good to go. And those are your Tier 1 wide receivers. Easy. Those are guys that are going late first round, early second. So right after those Tier 1 running backs are gone, feel free to take a Tier 1 wide receiver after that. And then, if you really want to go running back and skip out on, a Hill, Diggs, Ridley, you could do that. But do not go for a Tier 2 running back if Tier 1's wide receivers are still available. Do not do that. Tier 2, we got Jefferson, Allen, Keenan Allen, Aaron Robinson, DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, who is out with COVID right now, should be cleared by week 1. You just hope that he doesn't need to revamp himself up after being sick. So he is, the only person that's kind of on the fence here in Tier 2 besides A.J. Brown, who is just kind of resting his knee during preseason. I don't think it's anything serious. He'll be good to go. And you got Terry McLaurin with Washington and Cooper Kupp in Tier 2. So these guys are the wide receivers that you're going to take once Tier 2 running backs are gone. If you have 2 running backs already, you don't need to draft a third one. You can go with anyone in Tier 2. But if you don't have your second running back, take your second running back as long as it's, inside the top 2 tiers that I have, and then you can take your Tier 2 wide receiver. The Tier 2 wide receivers are definitely going to come in after your 1A, 1, and Tier 2 running backs. That's when you can start taking your Tier 2 wide receivers. Jefferson, obviously, I think is going to be a great target. Puts up tons of yards there in Washington. Allen's going to be with Herbert with his second year. Robinson, really the only target there for the Bears. Metcalf and Wilson are going to keep connecting. Lamb's the best receiver that Dallas has, in my opinion. A.J. Brown's still going to be the go-to guy. He's going to get more looks now with Julio on the other side. No need to double-team Brown. You have Julio. You have Henry. He's going to be facing one-on-ones, and he's going to win those matchups. McLaurin has an actual quarterback this year, so he's a very valuable pick. And I'm going to love me some Rams wide receivers. I almost put Robert Woods here in my Tier 2 as well, but Cooper Kupp with Stafford now, I expect even bigger things from him and Robert Woods this year. He leads off my Tier 3. You got him, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, I forgot him, so I had to put him there. I also forgot Julio Jones and Kenny Golladay up there at the top of the list. I know it's kind of confusing, but I had to squeeze these three in because I left them off when I was finished with my list. So those three guys there, Amari Cooper, Devontae Parker, Odell, Juju Smith, T. Higgins, and Chase Claypool. So Evans, touchdown target in Tampa Bay for sure. Brandon Ayuk is going to be the main target there for Garoppolo or Trey Lance. I expect big things out of him. Although he's nursing a hamstring injury right now, which you kind of hate to see. His status for week 1 is up in the air. They should be able to play, but any guy that's kind of hurt, you kind of have to go Deontay Johnson over him now, or he's probably the only guy I still take over him. So I go Woods, Evans, Johnson, then Ayuk, just because of that hamstring. You hate it to see guys hurt. Julio Jones, guy that they're arrested, so he's healthy for week 1, and I got Kenny Golladay there too. I'm not high on Golladay this year. I'm really not. I don't trust Jason Garrett to do the right thing in the Giants offense and let Daniel Jones throw the ball deep. I just don't trust it. He's going to need to get you touchdowns. He's not a guy that can run great routes, get open, make catches, make yards after the catch. No, he's a guy that catches the ball 25 yards downfield, steps out of bounds, gets tackled, or catches it in the end zone. That's Golladay to me. Goes up, can high point a football better than anyone in the league, but he's got to be healthy, and he's got to fit in Jason Garrett's system somehow. In preseason, we saw the same stupid curl routes that Jason Garrett's been running there, so I'm not huge on Golladay this year. Amari Cooper I have there, but I really like CD Lamb more. I would definitely, if you want a Dallas wide receiver, Lamb's the guy, not Amari Cooper. Devontae Parker in Miami, going to get some time there. Will Fuller suspended for the first 4 games. Going to go. A lot of things are going to go to him his way. Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to be ready week 1. He should be good to go. I know he had that little injury scare there with his leg, but obviously Waddle played with Tua, so he's going to be a good option this year. Odell, hopefully he's healthy this season, but Browns like to run the ball a lot. That's why I have Odell here in Tier 3. Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, he's a risky guy to take. Just an awful season last year. Just an awful, awful season. We'll see if he can bounce back, but Deontay Johnson's the guy in the Steelers. T. Higgins might be my favorite person in Tier 3. I might take T. Higgins after Deontay Johnson there at 16.5 there. I like T. Higgins a lot. I think he's going to be Burrow's number 1 target. In case you didn't know, Jamar Chase saw 5 targets in preseason, dropped 4 of them. He's got a case of the yips right now. Tyler Boyd's another good option there in Cincinnati, but I think Higgins is the guy to have. Chase Claypool, big third down reception guy, big end zone guy. Kind of would take him over Juju per se, but Juju is still the number 1 receiver there for a couple of years after Brown left. So Claypool just behind him. I really think he's a decent option to have, touchdown wise. Jamar Chase leads off Tier 4, kind of a risky play here with it being a rookie and everything. It's my highest rookie there. Him and Devonta Smith come in this tier, the 2 rookies. I do kind of like Smith more just because there's less weapons on the Eagles. They have Miles Sanders out of the backfield. I think Devonta Smith is their number 1 target right now. So they'll have him. It just scares me that, the guy's so dainty. He looks like he could get hurt at any moment. Deebo Samuel there for the 49ers, number 2 to Brandon Ayuk. Mike Williams is a guy that you're waiting to break out from. This could be his season. If he stays healthy, it really could be his season. I do believe he's fighting some hips problems right now, but he should be good to go week 1. Tyler Boyd I have in there as well, those 3 wide receivers. If Burrow has time, he's going to be able to find these guys, and Cincinnati is going to really be able to sling it. Michael Thomas I have in Tier 4. He's expected to be out for, I think, 8 weeks. I would kind of wait till around 7 to 10 to take a guy like Michael Thomas. You just don't know if he's coming back this year, or if the Saints are going to push him after he's, if the Saints fall out of it, if Winston's not playing well and the Saints are, something like 2-5 heading into week 8. something like that, if they're even going to push him to come back. But Thomas is a very scary pick to have this year. If you're low on wide receivers and you need a spark late in the season, you got your 3 good running backs and a lot of wide receivers were gone. If you want to take Michael Thomas as your wide receiver 3, you're going to have 2 starters before you draft Thomas. So make sure you got 2 starting wide receivers before you go draft Michael Thomas. And you have Will Fuller there, who's suspended for 4 games, and I got Jerry Jeudy in tier 4 here. I'm looking for Cortland Sutton here. I want to make sure I have him on the list. I might have left Sutton off. All right, I gotta. If you're this is where the listeners benefit here instead of just looking at the graphic. So if you have Cortland Sutton, I'm putting him in tier 4 as well. I'm just scared of who's throwing the football in Bridgewater or Locke. I like taking guys that have great quarterbacks, so I'm a little hesitant there on Denver wide receivers. So I got Jeudy there in tier 4, but I put Sutton there as well. Tier 5, Brandon Cooks. A lot of guys are high on him this year. Look, if he plays with Watson, he's going to put up points, but I just don't know if he's playing with Watson. I really don't. So Brandon Cooks starts off tier 5. He's not a terrible wide receiver to have as a wide receiver 3 or something like that. But like I said, he needs Watson to play. He's going to throw the ball deep to him. Shenault, Jacksonville wide receiver. I really like this kid. Rookie last year, 2nd year now, better quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. They look good in camp together. He's a very sneaky pick here, Shenault. I like him a lot. I'm not a big believer in Chark, the other wide receiver there who's been in the league for a few years, and you're just kind of waiting for him to prove it, and he just hasn't. I really like Shenault. I think this guy can break out. This is one of my sleepers right here. Shenault is a big sleeper of mine. Someone that I would think about grabbing right around tier 4. If I'm not going to be able to get him on the way back, he's someone I would definitely reach for. You got Jacoby Myers after him in New England. Mike Pittman Jr., another good play, because with T.Y. Hilton is going to be out for a while. I would not even draft T.Y. Hilton. I actually, I got to take him off this list here. And maybe I'll just put Cortland Sutton there at 37. That's where I had Hilton. So Pittman's going to be the number 1 target there, and if Wentz starts, he's not going to be bad. So Pittman's definitely someone to have my eye on. I also, this is where I threw Chark in as well. Like I said, I'm not as high on him as I am Shenault. Landry, Rigor, Kirk, Marquise Brown. Even though Marquise Brown's the number 1 wide receiver there, he's not the number 1 option. It's Jackson running the football, it's Edwards running the football, and it's play action to Andrews. Then you have Marquise Brown. So Brown's kind of a big play guy there for Jackson to throw the ball to, not super reliable. Kirk, number 2 there in Arizona. You got Andy Isabella there. A.J. Green is there. So you kind of flooded after Hopkins there. So I don't really know who's going to break out as a number 2 option. In Arizona, you got Jalen Rigor, who Philly's hoping has a breakout season after really messing up last year drafting a wide receiver. They move up to get Smith, but I expect Smith to have a better season than Rigor. And Landry, consistent guy. If you're in PPR, I think Landry can consistently get you about 10 points a week, with 4 catches, 60 yards, it's kind of something consistent like that, even if it's 7 catches for 50 yards. He's a guy that they like to run quick plays to. Landry's going to get looks, but I don't think he's explosive anymore. I think those days are kind of behind him, and where he's going off for over 100 yards a game. Hopefully he can find the end zone. He's just kind of a consistent target there, a reliable target for Mayfield. Tier 6, we got Curtis Samuel, new team in Washington. Could be higher than Tier 6. You really could have put him in Tier 5. Number 2 option there for Fitzpatrick. Henry Ruggs with the Raiders. Hopefully they can get more out of him than just the deep ball threat last year. I feel like he had that big touchdown, like that crazy touchdown before half or something. Or no, that was the end of the game. They beat the Jets on a Hail Mary to Ruggs last year. That was his big highlight of last season. So we'll see if Ruggs can make himself more than just a deep threat. And here's another sleeper of mine. If you're down in the dumps on wide receivers, you only have a couple, and it's getting late. Marquez Callaway for the Saints. Look, Michael Thomas isn't going to be back. He's their number one target right now. Him, Kamara, this is where the offense is going. I really like this kid Callaway. He can really break out, have a great season. So him and Shenault, two big sleepers of mine at wide receiver this year. I would kind of like to have one of them, if not both, late as, some depth pieces at my wide receiver. Maybe I want to reach for a tight end. I'll be okay with having Callaway or Shenault as my wide receivers there. Corey Davis with the Jets, looking like Zach Wilson's number one target. We don't know what Zach Wilson's going to be. He played a lot of his games this preseason well, but against, second, third string guys in the defense. But Corey Davis is someone that can end up being like a Jamison Crowder was. I think that they brought him in for that role. I think for whatever reason, the Jets aren't in love with Crowder. They brought in Davis. We'll see what he does with Wilson, but I think Wilson's connecting with him big time. He seemed to throw to him a lot this preseason. So Corey Davis is not a bad option there for the Jets. I threw Michael Gallup in here in this tier as well. Again, another talented guy, but I just like CeeDee Lamb so much that I'm just down on the other Dallas wide receivers. Marvin Jones Jr., careful. He is fighting something right now. He is questionable for week 1 with a shoulder. He's got something going on with his shoulder joint. So we'll see if he's ready for week 1. But another guy I kind of like him more than Chark. I should honestly switch the two. I should put Jones in tier 5 and Chark here in tier 6. But I made these rankings a little while ago. But things change. You got to adapt. So Marvin Jones Jr., decent option to have for Jacksonville. As in they're going to be their number 2 wide receiver. I put Darnell Mooney here, whatever, Bears, and not a guy I love a lot. Sterling Shepard, another guy that I like. I really like him in this offense, even more than someone like Kenny Golladay, to be totally honest. Shepard is going to get a lot of looks. He's not a guy that's going to have a big play, but he can run the slants, he can run the outs, he can be a good red zone target there if Galladay's not on the field. Shepard can really do it all. He's just got to stay healthy. He really does. But I think he's more comfortable now in the slot. He's not going to face number 1 coverage like he was facing last year. Galladay's going to draw the number 1 corner. Going to free up Shepard. He's wearing number 3 like he did at Oklahoma. He seems like a different wide receiver in training camp this year. I don't know why, but I just really like Sterling Shepard. I do. I really think if you can get him as your 4th wide receiver, I think that's fantastic. I really do. Elijah Moore, a rookie with the Jets. I mean, look, you got 3 Jets running backs here. Crowder, Moore, Davis. Who's going to be the guy? If any of them go undrafted, I would really keep my eye on them and see if Zach Wilson's targeting them and see what they look like in the offense, how many snaps they're getting, so on and so forth. Cole Beasley at 52. We'll see if he makes it through the season. I know he's been having COVID issues with the protocols, and now he was just fine. So we'll see if Beasley sticks it out there. It's kind of a risky play to me, but he is the number 2 to Stephon Diggs in that Bills passing offense. Jalen Waddle I threw in here as well. I think he's going to be good to go week 1, but like I said, it looked like he tore his ACL or something crazy, but he could end up being his favorite target. Definitely would draft Waddle. I don't think he'll go undrafted, but if he does, really keep an eye on him because he, like I said, Alabama connection there with Tua and Waddle. Now, tier 7, here are your, waiver wire kind of wide receivers here. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's a ton of them. I will point out ones that I, would stay away from or would think about drafting. Look, Darius Slayton's dealing with some injury right now. He's not a number 1 target there. He's not a number 2 target there. And I think a guy like Kadarius Toney could easily get on the field for him because, look, Toney's going to make plays. They got him to make plays and catch the ball short and go. Slayton's not that guy. Slayton just dropped, and he's dropping passes. He doesn't look great. I don't know what's up with him. I kind of avoid Slayton. I keep my eye on Toney. I'd also keep my eye on Rondale Moore, big deep threat, very fast wide receiver there. He might be able to be a big part of that Cardinal offense. I believe he's with the Cardinals. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure he's with the Cardinals. That would be a huge piece for that Cardinal offense to just stretch the field and take some weight off DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, receiver for the Cardinals. So he's a decent guy to have to look at, kind of like a boomer bust. I could see him having 23, 2, 5, 6, 18, 1, 3, 27. Like, he could go for 2 long passes, anywhere. Sammy Watkins with the Ravens, I'm not too in on him. I think A.J. Green's washed up. Denzel Mims, a guy that really didn't get a chance to show himself last year for the Jets. I do think that if he's healthy, he's good. He really is. He's not bad at all. Definitely someone that's going to go undrafted, but definitely someone worth keeping an eye on. Tim Patrick, the Broncos. There were other guys. Deshaun Jackson's now with the Rams. Travis Fulgham still with the Eagles. He kind of shined a couple weeks when their guys were hurt, but he really didn't amount to anything. So that's pretty much all you got there for your wide receivers. If Terrence Marshall Jr. I added here because he's a wide receiver that I liked a lot. I'm just not sure about the system that Terrence Marshall Jr. is in. I'm not sure. I don't know if I love him with the Panthers. I don't. But he could end up being a big target there because the Panthers don't have many wide receivers. But they're going to go through McCaffrey. And, Robbie Anderson is reunited with Sam Darnold there. Actually, Robbie Anderson looks like someone I forgot on this list. I do not see Robbie Anderson on this list. Yikes. Must have forgot him. But he's definitely someone I would put towards the end of Tier 5, early Tier 6. Going to be the number one target there for Mr. Sam Darnold in his first year with the Panthers. So that'll about do it for this episode. Now we got a lot of good stuff. We'll talk to you. I think we'll do maybe some Week 1 stuff next week. We'll get you prepared for Week 1. We'll set your lineups for Week 1. We'll go over that, and stay tuned. You're going to have a chance to take my hard-earned cash. We'll see if you can pick a quarterback next week that'll outscore my quarterback. So, that's right. I'm going to take a quarterback next week. I don't know who it is yet, but if he puts up more points than the quarterback I take, I will pay you money if you're the first person to guess that highest scoring quarterback. I'm going to tell you who the highest scoring quarterback is going to be. You are going to tell me if you think this person's going to score the highest, and if he does score the highest, you have a chance to take my cash. So that's going to do it for this episode of Louie Lineups. Draft well, draft smart, draft efficiently. Crap, I forgot Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is going to be a Tier 4 wide receiver, right around Debo, Mike Williams, right around there. Tyler Lockett, that's where he comes in. Can't believe I forgot him. Number 2 in Seattle. Great option. Always makes great catches. The perfect prototypical wide receiver, Tyler Lockett. I knew it. I felt it inside me the whole time as I'm forgetting somebody. Tyler Lockett. That's who it was. But he's nursing something right now, but he'll be fine. He's nursing a groin injury, but they expect him for Week 1. Tyler Lockett, Tier 4. That'll do it. And next week, we're going to have Joe Wanderling on and give us his best fantasy lineup, like DraftKings style, make your own lineups, the win you money. Joe will have that for us next week. That'll do it. Good luck drafting.